All right, Carla Howard, living the dream. What does that mean for you when you think about living the dream?
Yeah, it changes all the time, and that's what I think is fascinating. Many times I think we get locked on to what maybe our dream life might look like.
Yeah,
And the truth is, it changes over time. For me right now, being an entrepreneur is exactly where I need to be. I love the flexibility. I really enjoy the mix of work, and I'm
mm,
looking to make some changes in just the way that revenue comes into my business. So, if you would have asked me 3 years ago and shown me a picture of where I am today, I would have been jumping up and down, very excited that, oh, good, it'll be perfect. That'll be just what I want. And then you get there and you want to make tweaks, right? It's not that I'm
yeah,
not grateful or not satisfied. It's that I'm learning along the way and things change,
yeah.
so yeah.
We change, and that's okay. Like we grow up, and then
Yes.
we keep growing, which is the best part. Yeah, and I've reinvented myself several times. You can't control certain things, so it's like, okay, pivot. It's just that stay and flow. How do you feel about that when you come to a wall or you just come to something that it's not in your control? So how do you handle that?
I think I handle it much better today than I did when I was younger. Experience and miles under your sneakers kind of
Yeah.
teaches you to let go of the things that you really have no control over.
Mhm.
So for me, I hold the vision of what I want to do and figure out a way around it. I did a Instagram post the other day. I was out on a walk. I'm up in the mountains and in the desert, and I know that there's rattlesnakes out there, right? But I've never actually seen one until Monday of this week. I was on a walk and I saw a rattlesnake right in the middle of the path.
Ah,
And I just paused and looked at him and thought, all right, I'm
there
going
you
around.
are.
So,
Love it.
out in the road I go and around and then back up on the path. So, to me, that is a perfect example of what it means when you hit obstacles. It doesn't mean you stop and you don't go anywhere. You just kind
Yeah.
of pause and go, well, that's not going to work. So now what? And it might be a different path to that vision that you held in your mind, or you might have a new vision. Either one is fine.
Yeah. And when you don't let go, when you push the issue, like I know somebody who she encountered a baby rattlesnake and she went back home and told, like I think it was her father-in-law and like the family was all gathered, the in-laws were there, what had happened. And she said, yeah, I just, I was just touching it with the stick and kind of poking at it. And he's just like, what? You can't do that. Like a baby rattlesnake has way more venom than an adult. It's like, you want instant death? Just touch a baby rattlesnake. Wow. She learned a lot that day. And she just like had that more free spirit kind of vibe, and he was a little more like this, so she figured he'd react that way. But then when she found out they had more venom than more powerful venom than an adult, she like went, oh wow. So that was an interesting tidbit. All right, so yeah, so right now what are you going to do, right? So when you think about right now, what comes up for you?
Um, well, I'm really working on a couple of things. Launching a new service called the Speakers Connection, where I will connect speakers with event organizers who are looking for them.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a speakers bureau, except I'm really not the middle person. I introduce them. The contract is between the two of them. And I'm really
Nice.
looking to serve new speakers who are struggling to get paid and connect them with event organizers who don't have the huge budgets that speakers bureaus are looking for. So
Cool.
yeah, that's something new for me. I am also ramping up my Get Paid from the Stage program. I run that 3 times a year.
Oh, you do. Okay.
Yep. And
Good.
so, yeah, so ramping that up. And then I'm also looking at more ways to incorporate I'll say more passive income. That phrase to me is always a
Weird
little
phrase.
bit strange, right? Because
Very.
it takes a lot of work to create passive income. It makes it sound like you just throw it out there and money rolls in the
Oh
bank.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But looking at one-to-many opportunities for
I like
increased
it.
revenue and like online courses that once you create them, it is passive income. So those
Love
are
it.
my big business focuses right now. And we just bought a cabin up in Pine Top here in Arizona,
Nice.
get away from the heat.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, that's part of my my dream life right now.
I love it. I like to go camping. It's only about like 20 minutes away, but it's like double the height, like the elevation. So we're in Asheville, North Carolina, and my husband and I go camping we're at 2,500 feet and we go on top of Mount Pisgah, like 5,000 feet. So, and we absolutely love it. We feel so good up there. I don't feel good in Hawaii. So that lower elevation doesn't work for me. All right, so big leaps. And how do you feel about taking big leaps? You think that's a good idea?
I don't think anybody actually does it, to be honest with you. I think it's always small steps that sometimes feel like they're big leaps.
Right.
You know, every big business that's out there started with an idea, every single one of them. And so, I mean, there's some steps that are bigger than other steps, but really, when you see someone take what looks like a big leap, if you unpack it, there are so many small decisions and small steps along the way.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's reassuring because we don't have to make big leaps. We just have to take small steps every day. And that really does get us to our vision.
Yeah. And it's nice that entrepreneurs and just people online in general are being a little more transparent, authentic, or whatever. So we do see the behind the scenes, all those little steps, because that's the fakey part of social media. It's just like everything's perfect, you know. It's like, oh, she was like this, look at her now, she's like this, like she snapped her fingers and it happened. And as an entrepreneur, if you've been an entrepreneur for a while, you know the truth that no, it just nothing's real instant. So I love that. All right, and hold the vision. That's like my husband's favorite word. I love his vision strategy roadmap where he's like, okay, it's just like going to grandma's house. So what's the ultimate? I use that with my clients. It's like, okay, if there's, you know, just one thing that could just be that ultimate for you, like feels so good. And some people it's speaking, it's like, okay, like in front of how many people, because then that determines the venue, you know. And I wouldn't be comfortable standing on a elevated stage in the middle of a football field with people all around me. That would drive me nuts. I don't even like to have a spotlight in my face. I want to see their faces. So that all determines, you know, size and venue, and then we just like work backwards from the ultimate, like where were you just before that, and then back, and then we start and move forward. And they're just steps. They're not goals with outcomes and measurements and all of that and objectives and stuff. It's just like going to grandma's house. You know, you're gonna stop for gas, and you know there's gonna be things you can't control at the gas station, and you could get delayed, and that's fine. And I worked with a lady with, get this, 10 kids. She homeschooled. She just had a baby, and her daughter had just had a baby. And she's a writer, and she wasn't getting anything done. I took her through the vision strategy roadmap, and she knew exactly what her next step was. And even if she only had 2 minutes, she could do something. And it made all the difference in the world for her. So I've had a lot of fun with that. So I would love to hear what you have to say about hold the vision.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of doing visualization exercises in the morning where, you know, you go through a meditation, and I have a visualization tape that I love, but well, I guess it's not a tape anymore, but it's a download. It's a audio file. You know, I believe that we have to hold that big vision for our life and I don't worry too much about how I get there. Right. I just hold the vision and continue to take those small steps.
Yeah, man.
and opportunity will open up for you along the way. And the other thing that I find really interesting, when I go on my walk, I see mountains out in the distance, and it reminds me of my vision because I can only dream so big. I know that there's an even bigger, more amazing future waiting for me. So my job is to dream as big as I can and trust
Yeah.
that there's more. There's more than I can even envision right now.
Yep.
And my job is to simply dream, hold the vision, and take those small steps.
I love that, because the problem is when you do arrive at, as big as you could dream, your ultimate vision, some people get super, super depressed, and other people just do the thing, dream the bigger thing. And really, that's how it is with mountains. Like my husband lived in Idaho, and in a small valley, very narrow valley. And so like he stepped out of the trailer home and bam, the mountain was there. You could just go right up it. But it really shocked him as a kid when he, had the experience of getting to the top of that mountain. His mountain, there were a whole lot more, and they were a whole lot higher, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So don't think you're ever gonna arrive. I mean, that's when you're dead. Right? There's always more, and it's always fun, because what you're saying here really is there's dreams, there's actions to the dream, there's steps, small steps along the way, and just hold the vision. I just love that. Thank you so much, Carla.
Yeah, no, this was my pleasure. So nice to chat with you this morning.
Same here. Bye-bye.
Bye.